and then understanding the attitude and mental agility, which is absolutely one of the necessities for us to be positive, for us to think about positive leadership, and also for us to inspire others. So what is it? We will look into that. And then also personality development. How do we start identifying what we have and what we don't, and how we can actually fill up those gaps? So that's the personality development. And then the leadership skill set. I'm sure we might not be able to cover all of this, but we will see how far we'll go, because the whole objective here is that we need to understand the topic very well, because we are aspiring to be the leaders, or we are aspiring to transform others, inspire others. So that's why I might go a little bit slow. We can have another session, but I would like to deep dive into this. So having said that, let's just go back to the previous session. Previous session, I will just go through it a little bit quickly. So in the last session, we discussed that what exactly is the leadership. And leadership is definitely is an art, or a process, or a methodology of motivating different people, maybe more than one people, towards achieving some common goals. That is a generic definition of it. Or it could be bringing people together to work collaboratively to achieve great things, such as I mentioned, that even MFIRD, whatever they are doing, that is also something, working collaboratively to achieve great things. And what is the reason for leadership aspirations? Because absolutely, if we are given knowledge, we also need to pass on that knowledge to others. And we also need to always think about the betterment of the community, betterment of other people, betterment of our colleagues, betterment of families, friends, and our social circle. So transforming people, groups, or communities, and then sharing our experiences and expertise is another one, another aspiration. Everybody would have that. And then guide or support or mentor people to achieve bigger goals is another one. And then also make sure that the next gen leaders or gen next leaders, they can take this forward to the next and the further next generations of it. And three things that we said are important in terms of the leadership. Communication is important, coordination is important, collaboration is important, which I always refer as 3 C's. And even many more also have 5 C's as well, but I have taken a smaller version of that. So then we really looked at it. Are we really ready for tomorrow? And especially, in this dynamic change of world, where you require a lot of leaders. And we see that even on social media, there are a lot of followers, but, seldom we have leaders. We can count maybe, if you look at the top 10 technology leaders, you won't be able to even count top 10 technology leaders. If you would like to, look at top 10 world leaders, you won't be able to even find 10 of them who are doing the right stuff and who are the right influencers. So this is the time for us to actually prepare the next generation and ourselves also to be part of that entire leadership a path or a roadmap going forward. And what are the different types of leaderships that we have? Visionary leadership, something that nobody else sees, but a person sees it, or a community sees it, or an organization or a movement sees that. That's a visionary leadership. And transformational leadership is something that really looks at only the transformation of the people, or the processes, or the methodologies, or the mentality of it. And then strategic leadership is something that is not only addressing some of the current things, but also the futuristic stuff. And there are other leadership styles. Some of them might be applicable, some of them might or might not be good. But I think, like such as servant leadership, I think it has almost vanished. Seldom we find, maybe one in a million who would like to actually pursue the servant leadership. And coach style leadership is mostly practiced in larger corporate world or enterprise world, coach type leadership. And there are others that are little bit related with the political or safety and the security and all of those, that's bureaucratic, delegative, affiliative. There are a lot of other leadership styles there. And then we also looked at why we have to prepare, and are we really preparing a Gen Next for tomorrow, and how do we actually embark on that journey, preparing mentally and literally. Really, we have to practice judicially. We looked at all these things, and spending time wisely, this is what we have looked at. And then one of the other core points that we have actually discussed last week was being authentic. Probably we might not be able to quick have quick gains, but being authentic in a longer run is always good, and we need to start practicing that. And it doesn't just come automatically, because we are surrounded by a lot of influencing factors around us. And that's the reason, being authentic is very challenging in these days, because you get influenced by some of the things. But again, being authentic will make a leader more successful in a longer run, because true leaders are authentic and they are trusted, and they are entrusted with any of the responsibilities. Whatever they say, people would absolutely follow that and admire that and get inspired out of it. And being authentic, four things of that. Do not fake is something we do not have to fake, and also give the credit to whoever that deserves it, rather than taking the credit. Even though if we have done it, we need to give the credit to the team, because in within the leadership, if your team is winning, you are winning automatically. And then not being selfish is another one, and be generous as much as possible. Saying these things is very easy, but practicing it is very difficult. It takes sometimes months to years to actually practice being authentic, because of the lot of external influential factors. And then we looked at what is attitude and mental agility. Attitude is a settled way of thinking. This is what we looked at it. We will deep dive into that just now. So that was the recap of the session, and now let's look at the next topic. So session 2, I'm just starting again with some of the quotes here. The quote is, again, that has always inspired me, is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude. So since I'm also a human being and we all are human beings, this is a great news that we can alter our lives. We can change our lives. We can transform our lives by just altering our attitude of thinking, attitude of how we think, how we look at the things. That inspires me. And then the other thing is that there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. If we think something is good, then it is good for us. If we think something is bad, then it makes it bad. So it's the thinking. And when we are now thinking about doing something, if we think that yes, this can add value to so many people, because again, leadership is not just about adding value to ourselves, but adding value to a lot more people. It's not just one or two, but a lot more people, the vast amount of people. Now let's look at very important thing is this mental agility. Just so if you look at the mental agility, this is a very, very old example of it. I have taken the example again here. Whether something is, this glass of water is half full or half empty. And if somebody says that half full, immediately you know that a guy is looking positivity in it. If somebody says that it is half empty, somebody might think that, okay, he's thinking a little bit towards the left side of the brain. Because in our brain, if you do the brain profiling, you would see that in which way we are thinking, how we are thinking, and all of that. So, and again, in half empty, it's nothing wrong in looking at half empty. That's the bottom line that I'm trying to say here, is that because there is an opportunity to get it 100% full, or make it full. So that's also not a bad perspective. But always we looked at the things such as uh, one or zero, or yes or no, but there is also a middle way that somebody can choose, if you really want to look the things differently out of the box. Now, if you look at what is it that makes us think negative, or what is it that makes us think positive, and what are those influencing factors, that impact attitude. So it again, it is the experiences, bad experiences of the people, but we need to understand this little bit more, because when we are talking about leadership and when we are talking about
अरे ठहर के सुने मुझे लीडरशिप सुनो सुनो मैं ज्वाइन करा अभी शुरू आप सुनो नहीं मैं भी सुन रहा हूँ नहीं सुनो अरे नहीं सुनो क्या किया क्या है
Please go on mute.
sorry for that. So what are the factors that are influencing attitude? This is very, very important, because when we talk about leadership, when we start working with people, people are personalities, people are their culture, people are how they have been brought up, people are emotions, people are really sentimental. So that's why we need to understand what are the factors influencing somebody's attitude, why somebody is behaving like that. Because if we really want to transform somebody's attitude, we need to first of all understand it. And it could be that the reason could be that could be criticism. Somebody might have criticized a person. That's the reason, the person is carrying that negative attitude. Or somebody might have ridiculed his suggestions or his ideas. Or it could be that, the person might have got rejected for certain things. That's the reason they carry that attitude. And if you look at also, in many stories as well, something has happened to a person, and throughout the life, he actually carries that baggage. But first thing that we need to do, transforming people, is that, or as part of transformation leadership, is that we need to identify what exactly are those influencing factors that we can target, that we can work on, so that we can get rid of the negative mind state. So how do we transform the state of mind is something that we will get out of this entire slide. So that's the one of the influencing factor. The second factor is that probably they are not aware of the stuff, so lack of knowledge, or probably they are very, very low on confidence. That is also one of the reasons. So if you know that a person is low on confidence, then you can boost up. And believe me, there is not even a single creature on this earth who has not been given at least one quality. Even a worst of a worst person that we think would have one quality, and that's been given by Almighty. And it's not something that we can debate on it, because that's a fact that has been said several times by several wiser people, and in the divine books as well, that every person is given some qualities, certain qualities. So we need to identify what are those qualities that are actually the cutting edge over others, and then give them the confidence. So that's another thing. Or there might be some people who are not knowledgeable, who are not aware of the topic. Then it is better that we bring that awareness to the people, so that they understand the topic better, and then they will ridicule whatever their negative thinking is. They will actually reject that negative thinking. And then the third one is that they have always doubts. They are thinking whether they are doing it right or wrong, or they might think that, okay, maybe I might fail, or this might not be right. So there are a lot of people who are pessimistic, and pessimistic people can spoil anything very easily with one statement, just one statement. We all talk about something, and um, a pessimism statement could be that, okay, I don't think that this can work. That's it. He will spoil the entire conversation. So we really have to handle also pessimistic people separately. We need to identify why there is pessimism and then work on that. And anger is another one, because you would find several people who get angry very quickly, even though if you think about it, it's a very, very small matter. But again, those are the anger issues. And the reason is that they just want to protect themselves. They just want to create a defense with the help of anger. And we need to understand that what are those weak points, that they are trying to defending. So then we can work on that. And fear is another one. Fear can cause a lot of damage. And I have seen several people, around me, just because of the fear or fear of failure, they don't attempt new stuff. So we really need to understand all these perspective, of other people. If we really want to make sure that we transform them, we actually work on their mental agility, we need to understand this. And then also in the society, you would also find that there are people who have wrong beliefs, wrong values. Their value system is very, very wrong. They do not want to help others because nobody has helped them. That's what is their belief. And their value system is also very, very poor. We need to work on the value system. We need to work on their thinking, why they are thinking that way. So it could be again wrong beliefs, wrong values, wrong thinking, or again absolutely the bad experiences within the life. Because bad experiences, now if you think about it, why Hitler has become Hitler? Because of his bad experiences, because of his wrong beliefs. If you study Hitler or if you study any great leader, why the leaders have become that way is because of their experiences, because of their beliefs, because of their values, because of their thinking, because of what they have experienced. So that's the reason we always need to look at the people from their perspective, not from our perspective, and then try to work, inside out, so that they can be transformed. So that's something that, in understanding somebody's mind, state of mind, or in understanding somebody's mental agility, what are those factors that we just now looked at it. And there's another great quote is that we cannot solve the problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So which means that we need to have a different thinking to solve the problems that were created at a different thinking level. So you cannot actually argue with a person who is anger, who is coming with a pessimism, with the same pessimism. You need to come out of that and bring in some alternatives from that. So that's also one of the conclusions from this statement. Now, going forward now, let's look at, so what is the whole positive outlook? Why leaders need to have positive outlook? Because if a leader is carrying any baggage, any negativity or negative attitude or negative perception about anything, it will influence all the followers. It will influence the entire team. And that's the reason leaders need to have positive outlook all the time. And how can we transform the attitude and be positive? Let's look at that in this slide. So there's again another, great statement, a quote, attitude will either define you or destroy you. And we obviously want attitude to define us, not destroy us or destroy any of our colleagues or any of our, near and dears. We never want their attitude to destroy them. So that's the reason also that we can inspire others to think positively and change the way that they are transforming within their lives, and bring in some positivity. So attitude will definitely, will be the definition for many people if we take this challenge up. And then the other one is that never underestimate your power to change yourself, such as I'll give you a simple example. Maybe we have to maybe, attend a good session, or maybe we have to do something good. And immediately, our some subconscious mind will tell us that, no, man, leave it. Because you are too tired, let us catch up on the sleep, let us not just do that, let us be lazy. But if you tell that mind that, no, I would like to do it, whatever it is, I would like this thing to be done, I'm telling you, the same mind will tell the body, tell all the other organs that let's get prepared for doing this. So the power to change is nowhere, it is in the mind. If we think that we can change, we can change. And believe me, there is nothing on this world that cannot be changed, with the help of our attitude, with the help of, thinking positive. I don't really personally think that there is something that we cannot change. But for that, there needs to be a plan, there needs to be a strategy, there needs to be people, there needs to be the right motivation, there needs to be right idea so that we can change. And I have seen also a lot of people who have changed within a duration of couple of years because they made sure that they want to change, be it their business, be it their personal lives, be it whatever it is. You take one step at a time. Every day we practice it, we will be able to change. So the power to change lies within ourselves. The power to change lies just in our brain. Believe me, the Almighty has given us the best thing, that's the brain. And what we are utilizing, hardly we utilize 4%, 4.5%. We don't even utilize more than that. So which is underutilized, which can be utilized further from a positive thinking. There are a lot of ways that you can think. And again, one of the other tips is that whenever we want to think positive, you can do this exercise for just 1 minute, is the deep breath. Take a deep breath, because it pumps the fresh air into the mind, which is, again, air has oxygen, we all know that, and oxygen is the feed for the mind. So that's the reason, if you look at now for some of the smart gadgets, be it Apple gadgets or anything, it says that breathe for a minute. Why? Because new thinking would come in, and positivity would come in, because the oxygen gets feeded to the brain more. So, and we need to do that maybe 6 to 7 times. If we take shorter breaths of it, deep breaths of and during 1 minute, then you can start thinking it, and you will see it realizes. And this is something that I do it more often, and I also suggest a lot of people around me to do it, and they come back and they say that yes, it really is helping us think differently, think better, think relaxed. Because what is lacking today is that not enough feed is being given to our organs, be it to the brain, be it to the heart, be it to the others. If we do take care of that, we can transform our lives even rapidly as well. And then the other thing is, positive attitude is the person's passport to a better tomorrow. This is another great statement, because if we really want to have better tomorrow, it's the positive attitude, because that is going to be the passport. And we know what passport can do. Passport is something that allows us to commute between the countries. Passport is something that allows us to access some new territories. Passport is something that gives us access to some systems. So it's a positive attitude is the person's passport to a better tomorrow. And who doesn't want a better tomorrow? Everybody wants a better tomorrow. And especially the leaders, they absolutely want a better tomorrow. So we need to carry that positive attitude. How can we build that positive attitude or positive outlook? The first thing is that have 100% optimism. Whatever situation it is, optimism is important. And I will give you some examples of in real time lives. I'm sure most of you watch cricket or any other sport. There are certain teams that are champions. They are champions not because of their skills. They are champions because they are optimistic all the time. Even if they are losing, they are optimistic that they can change the things. If you look at maybe cricket as well, certain teams have never won crucial matches. The reason is that they are not optimistic. They are mentally not agile enough to adapt to those situations. They are not mentally strong. That's the reason. And what has happened also, we all have experienced during the COVID, is that several people who were stronger, well built, but they did not have the right mentality, right attitude, positive attitude, they actually passed away. But several people who were not even very strong physically, but they were strong mentally, they came out. They came out of the hospitals even after 30 days. Some of them passed away in just few days, because that's the fear. That's the optimism versus pessimism. So being optimistic for a leader is always important, always, because leaders would get challenged with a lot of situations, very, very crisis moments, very emotional situations, where you would think that you would choke, but you do not have to choke. So optimism is something that we need to always carry. And then how does that come? That comes from also gratitude and happiness. If you are happy, if you have gratitude towards what is being given to you, if you are generous in your life, then that happiness comes in, and with that optimism comes in, because there is a hope. You always hope that, yes, I have done this thing generously, I have been really showing the gratitude whenever it is required. I know that I need to be optimistic, and then I will be able to achieve some of the stuff. So that's one. And then other important factor, this is for all the youngsters, this is for all those budding leaders, is that spend time with positive people. Because if we do not spend time with positive people, we will end up in an environment where only negativity is spread. If you now look at the media, mainstream media, you would see that the moment you are sitting in front of the TV for an hour or so, everything is negative. There's nothing that is being discussed there that helps humanity, that helps our communities, that helps our nation. It's all negativity. And what happens? We come out of that situation, and then we start acting like that. We start, because that's influencing us. We also start talking about it, and then it creates a lot of anger. It creates a lot of stress. So, don't look at the stuff that is always negative. Spend time with the positive people. Or if you have a lot of negative people around, this is the time for you to take the role of a transformation leader and spread positivity there itself. So if somebody says that no, this cannot be done, and giving one reason, you give 10 reasons why it could be done. That's also another way to challenge it. um, I'll give you one example. While we were working in Saudi Arabia, there was one foreigner who always used to give 10 reasons why this work cannot be done on time. Then, uh, before he jumps to the conclusion, the other person just gave the suggestion that, okay, let me tell you that, I will give you 10 reasons why this could be done. From that time onwards, that guy stopped giving reasons that why something cannot be done. So you need to be proactive. You need to think that how somebody is going to spoil the environment, and then immediately come up with a positive statement so that the others cannot actually even talk negative. The moment you start a meeting, or start a discussion, or start a gathering, or start any of the planning with a positive statement, immediately what you are doing is that you are spreading positivity within the group. And this is very, very important, and especially in the corporate culture, especially at the colleges, at schools, you need to create this kind of environment. And then invest in yourself. Invest in yourself doesn't mean that only spend money on ourselves. It is a lot more thing. One thing is, one investment that is required throughout our lives is knowledge. Knowledge is the only differentiator. My dear friends, knowledge is the only differentiator. If we have knowledge, people will listen to you. If you do not have the knowledge, if you are talking nonsense, then nobody would listen to us. So the only differentiator that will make you a better leader is knowledge and awareness of the subject. If you don't have that, you know, then people will definitely not care, or they will not listen to us. So invest in ourselves, and every day take out some time of 30 minutes to spend with you, spend for yourself, be it whatever it is. I mean, there are lots of books, literature that is available, that you can understand it and read it, and then interpret it in a better way, so that you can articulate it when you are presenting it. And that's one. The second thing is self-care. Many times we are in the situation, and especially in these Asian countries, is that we don't spend time with ourselves. We do not take care of ourselves. What does that mean? Are we really taking care of all our organs, and especially the brain and the heart? Are we doing it? Are we giving the right food to it? And again, food could be a true food, or it could be also food of thoughts. Are we really giving it or not? And if we don't take self care of our organs, ourselves, we will not be able to survive longer. We will not be able to live with positive attitude. So we need to invest in ourselves, such as, see, I have another slide, maybe sometime I will talk, what is the food that somebody need to feed, with regards to improving the positivity, improving the brain functioning, improving the heart functioning. There are a lot of things, and there are simple exercises as well, that we can do just to make sure that our thinking stays positive. We think positive, and then there is no stress in our life. I mean, we are going through tremendous pressure in our life. Each one goes through it, each one. And sometimes we want to take sympathy, or we want people to empathize with that. We don't have to, because we can take care of stress ourselves. Sometimes somebody is giving us stress, I understand that, but again, we can also handle that stress. We can handle the anger, we can handle the conflicts, because it's just how, what you think, what you can do. So that's invest in yourself, knowledge and self-care. And again, when we say investing, it's also dressing up nicely professionally is also investment in ourselves. Because imagine if a leader comes in a short and maybe half shirt, and then he says that, let me teach you this, or let me talk to you this, I want to mentor you this. People will not listen because of the the appearance. Probably he might be talking really good, but again, we need to also invest in ourselves, in eating the right stuff, in grooming ourselves, uh, and again, from the investment of knowledge perspective as well. And then meditate, exercise, something that we need to do it regularly, even if it is 5 minutes. It's not that you have to go to a gym, or if you have to go to a yoga center, or if you have to go somewhere. We don't have to. Even we can sit in our chair 5 minutes, close our eyes, take deep breath, and start thinking. That is also a meditation, that is also an exercise. That exercise is actually giving us new thoughts. So meditation or exercise is important. Our prayers, that's the one of the best exercises. But are we really doing it that way? Probably yes, probably not. Because all these things are actually, if you look at the prayers, the salah and everything, those have been designed for us to be active. But are we really following it? Are we really focusing there? Are we really exercising it as it should have exercised? So these are just the simple things that will absolutely transform anybody into a positive thinking or positive attitude. And then laughing is also important. Again, I'm not talking about laugh for hours, or that smile, laugh, be happy, cut a joke, have good sense of humor. And all these are the things. So, and then also play play with kids, even if it is 5 minutes. Sometimes we are so busy with our lives that we don't even spend 5 minutes with the kids. We don't even spend 5 minutes with our colleagues. We need to spend 5 minutes, even 5 minutes. I'm not talking about half an hour, or then you plan for play, or that. Playing could be anything, but you need to break from your regular life, a stressful life, the situation, and whatever the pressure points. If you want to break it, these are the things that somebody need to do, and that will always keep you positive. And then focus on long-term vision, because we cannot think that for ourselves or for all the people around us we can change somebody within a day or a week or a month. Sometimes it could take months, sometimes it could take maybe years, but that's the long-term vision, long-term strategy, because you cannot turn around certain things very quickly. And always be positive, so that we can create healthy environment. Wherever we go, people must talk about, okay, this person he talks positive, man. Let us just get inspired. Let us get his views on it, and he's the person who is spreading happiness. He is the person who is creating healthy environments. And then you would see that the way that you are practicing it, people start liking it, people start admiring it, people are getting inspired by you. And that's what is all about leadership. And then how can we strengthen the mental agility? Because that's the true differentiator. I have given examples of sports or examples of also during the COVID situation as well. I have seen many people who fainted and who passed away, even though we thought that they were very strong, but it is their mental agility, because that's the true differentiator. And how can we strengthen our mental agility? The first thing is that before acting on anything, think. Be it for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. There are great rules, that have been told or taught to us by philosophers, our teachers, our guide, our parents, that think before act. But do we really follow it? Because we are so hurried to act rather than thinking. So how can you do that? And I will also give you, my personal experience is that most of us, when we start our day, we start with a shower or so. And the best time to think out of the box is when we are under the shower. The reason for that is at that time, when the water is flowing through and it is hitting our head, at that point in time, this is again from science. This is not something magic or something. So from the science is that your brain is actually working at a frequency that allows you to generate a lot more ideas. And practice this. You would see that in a week's time. Make sure that 5 minutes during the shower, you are thinking deep, you are planning well, you are thinking before taking an action for the day. You would see how much difference that would make in life. It would make a lot. And many people have said that, yes, a lot of good ideas are hitting us while we are, taking shower, and we are able to actually plan our day better. And we are actually acting better than taking actions better than earlier. So that's what is also thinking before act. So you can plan for the day. But if you are in the middle of the day as well, if somebody says something and if you have to take a decision, take a pause, a few seconds, and then think about it very quickly, and then you can act on it. Even if you have to answer somebody, even if you have to debate on something. I'm not saying that we mustn't debate. We must absolutely debate for the right stuff, but we need to think before we debate. That's the one of the things. And then also uh, meditate. I already said that in the previous one, don't want to repeat, but again, meditation is also taking 5 minutes break during the office hours or during the working hours or during whatever you are doing. 5 minutes of time for yourself. Close your eyes, deep thinking, deep breath. That could also be a simple meditation or simple exercise. And then there are a lot of distractions in our lives. A lot of distractions. We are surrounded by a lot of conflicts. We are surrounded by a lot of negativity. We need to manage it. We must never ever get pulled into that. Intentionally, unintentionally, we should not get into that. We need to manage it in such a way. You need to manage it from a distance or sometimes get involved, but to correct that, to come out of the conflict, not to actually aggravate the conflict or not to aggravate the distraction. So distractions are the time killers. Distractions are actually creating a lot of pressure, and those pressure points can break somebody. So managing distractions is another one. I have another topic, a slide. Maybe sometime we will look at it, how we can manage the distraction, how we can manage the conflicts, and what are the better practices for that. And then develop resilience. Resilience is absolutely one of the greatest qualities of a human being. If you look at it, we during the COVID, we all were very scared. We could not go out. But now, since human beings are given resilience, we came out of it. Now it's close to a normal life. That was pre-COVID days. So that's the resilience. Resilience is nothing but, if you look at an maybe a rubber band, if you actually pull it apart and you leave it, it actually takes the same shape. So we human being as well, we are put under a lot of pressure. Sometimes, we go into a negative mode. Sometimes we get into the conflicts, the distractions, all of that. But you need to come back to your original situation very quickly. And that mental situation, coming back to that, is nothing but, how you develop that. How do you practice that? So resilience is absolutely another thing that we need to work on, that you cannot be in anger for longer. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes, fine, because again, that is also an emotion that is expressed by every human being. Sometimes you might get anger, but again, 1 or 2 minutes and then come back. And the stress, few minutes, then come back. So that is how we can actually develop resilience. And then wisely spend mental energy. Always, if you look at our lives, when we get up, the moment you are picking up the phone and looking at news, let's suppose, I'm just giving an example. And these days, 9 out of 10 times, you would read or you would see the news that is that will create anger, that will create dissatisfaction, that is negative. Why should we spend our quality time in the morning in just reading that stuff? If that is important, absolutely it will come to us. So also within the news subscriptions, whatever we have on smartphones, you subscribe to the news that is such as, mental health is another news, or well-being of people, that is also another news. So let it come on the stack on top, and then the rest of the news can follow. So you can configure, you can personalize it. So that's one of the examples of spending time wisely, or actually spending mental energy wisely. And there are certain smaller things which are which makes you happy. You start your day with those things, so that we can actually be more happier throughout the day, more positive. And take an example, the day that you got up, and within the next 10-15 minutes, or within the first hour, if you have experienced stress, you are throughout the day that goes with the stress, unless there is another situation that dominates that stress, positive situation that dominates it, and that elevates your positive thinking. So if you get up happily, within the first hour you lived your happy moments without stress, then your day goes well. So why should we really spend our mental energy on the stuff that is going to cause a lot more harm throughout the day or throughout our lives? So that's another one. And then invest in knowledge. We have spoken about that. And then eat and drink wisely. Drinking, drink means now maybe let me add these vitamins, that vitamins. My dear friends, drinking even water is precious than any drinking anything else. There are some healthy drinks that somebody can get it from the dietitian, but I'm talking about just the water. And one of the other things is that we don't drink water because we are busy in our lives. So what we have done within my office is that we have given water bottle to each and every person, and especially when they are under stress, we ask them, have you consumed water today? Because water, we know that what is the chemical combination of that, I don't have to tell, but that actually relieves you from a lot of things. It gives you what is required to be positive. So even drinking water is important. And if we really, if we think that we need more cognitive thinking, or that walnut, Almighty has created exactly a similar shape and structure as that of our brain in walnut. We consume one walnut every day, or if you cannot, maybe weekly, twice or thrice, more than enough for us to improve our cognitive thinking. So eating and drinking makes what we are, how we think, what we do. And we really underestimate, because we are busy in life. It's not that we don't want to do it, but it's those are not the pointers for us. Those are not the directives for us in our life. That's the reason we lose them out. Again, on the left side, what we have is more or less the stuff that is related to on the left side. Uh, Train your mind is another one which we have spoken. We need to train. We need to train more and more and more. If we don't train our mind to think positively, then we cannot be positive and we will not be able to transform somebody else, which is required for a leadership. So probably this is the last one for today. Now, how do we really create our own personality? How do we create our identity? How do we profile ourselves? Because the question would be that, yes, Imad, we hear you, we understand all of this, but how do we start? Where do we start? How do we know that we can do this and we cannot do that? And this is our strength or this is our weakness. So SWOT analysis, I mean, everybody knows this. This is not something that is new to all of you, but this is actually feeding how you can create your identity, how you can create your personality or profile. So this is what is about the personality development. How can you develop that? So the SWOT matrix, if you look at it, for those who have forgotten this, or for those who are not fully aware of it, just wanted to put down here, here some of the perspectives of that. On to the extreme right side, if you look at that, you have weaknesses and threats, and both of them are in red, highlighted in red. And if you look at the statement there, these are the discouraging factors in achieving objectives. Weakness is always a factor and which is a barrier in achieving our objective. Threat is also another factor that would not let you achieve your objective. That's on the right side. Onto the left side, what we have is the encouraging factors in achieving any objectives, which is strengths and opportunities. With this, simple statement, you understood that we need to capitalize on the left side, which is encouraging factors in achieving objectives compared to discouraging factors. Yes, there are weaknesses. Every human being has weaknesses, like they have strengths. But we need to identify what is my weakness, what is my strength, and that's what we have to do. Each one have to do. So all the all my resources, all my team members, they have gone through this SWOT matrix couple of years ago. We went through each one of them. We did the SWOT analysis of every person. We did the brain profiling or the identity or personality profiling of each person. And then we knew that this person would be helpful in doing this or in achieving these objectives, and these persons would not be helpful. So we need to train them. So this is just to identify where we have strengths, where we have weaknesses, what are the opportunities that we should capitalize on, what are the threats that we must be very well aware of. So the strengths, what are the true strengths? If you look at the strengths, what are the strengths for any person? True intelligence, because intelligence, people are intelligent, but again, they are intelligence, but they are more clever. They are more, cunning. That kind of intelligence we don't need, because we need true intelligence. And then knowledge and acumen. Acumen is something, it could be business acumen, it could be a situational acumen, it could be a subjective acumen, it could be objective acumen. So that's the acumen. And then right attitude and aptitude. Attitude, we have already spoken about it. Aptitude is something that is your skills. So in today's world, if somebody will have to win, they need to have right attitude, but also the aptitude, which is the skills to win. And then mental agility and reliability, those are the strengths. What is it that somebody can rely upon me, because this is my strength? What is that I have knowledge about, that I can help contribute in the team? So SWOT analysis is very important. Even if you are embarking on a mission, even if somebody is embarking on a corporate objective or strategic objective or organization objective or community transformation objective, they need to identify this. So those are the strengths. Weaknesses are, again, I don't talk a lot about weaknesses, because my focus is to speaking on strengths and opportunities. So those are the disabilities and disadvantages, non-confidence, negativity. So I mean, all of you understand that. Okay. And then threats is something that is risks, what are the risks and failure that can cause you failure, and non-compliance, competition, obstacles and traits, and all of that. Those are the threats. And when we do a company profiling or a product profiling, we also do the SWOT analysis. So opportunities, this is really the greatest thing. Every person gets equal opportunities as long as they have the right attitude and aptitude, but it is us who make use of that, who have to make use of that opportunity, capitalize on that. So opportunities are nothing but circumstantial awarenesses. A simple thing is, I will give you an example. In one organization, there was one higher management post was advertised, but the guys who are sitting in within the same office, they were not aware of it, and they were inviting the applications from outside. So if the person who has the right capability would have been aware of that, he would have applied internally, and he would have been given preference over others because of the capabilities what they have. So circumstantial awareness is important. Like again, in elections as well, if you look at it, in elections as well, if a person is understanding his constituency properly, his people and the circumstances properly, then he would always have edge. So understanding or having circumstantial awareness is important. We cannot be sitting in our offices, in our houses, and we are not aware of what is going around. So we need to understand that. And it could also be the knowledge that is being general knowledge that is being also every day generated via whatever the media. Some of the business magazines are there, some of the knowledge and technology magazines are there. If we do not know about that, then we will lose the opportunity. So the bottom line is that opportunities are available around us. We just need to stand up and look around, where are those opportunities that somebody can grab. And again, opportunities to grab those opportunities, to pursue those aspirations, each one has to be adaptable and flexible, uh, so that they can fit it into that opportunity and capitalize on that. And we need to quick start. We cannot just say that, okay, let me see that whether I can now learn. I will give you an example. Now, data science world is something that is booming. Now we cannot say that, okay, let me do another 2 years of this course, and after that I will go and learn data science. Then maybe the by that time the bus would have been gone, finished. So the opportunities are also very time bounded, and they come for a shorter time. So you need to grab that. And that's a quick starter and go getter kind of attitude is something that we need to look at. And again, factual analysis is something that is required. So those are the strengths and opportunities. Now, on the left side, if you look at it, again, opportunities and threats are external factors. Strengths and weaknesses are internal factors. Now, if you look at it, if we can work on strengths and opportunities, this is an aggressive approach. Whatever the time, effort, knowledge that we invest into it, that will have optimal return on investment. And that's the reason I always give suggestion, or even I practice myself, that let me work on my strengths and combine it with the opportunities, then I will have better return on investment. But if you look at strengths plus strengths and threats, it's a median ROI. So you are aware of the threats, but with the help of those strengths, you are actually negating those threats and capitalizing on it, and that's okay. It's a median return on investment. And then weakness plus opportunities combination, it's a low return on investment, because it's a weakness, but there is an opportunity to do something, but that's your weakness. So you will not have that kind of return on investment. And then last is that weakness and threats. This is a reactive approach. We have weakness to do something, and then there is also a larger risk of it, such as, I give you an example. Somebody would like to maybe become a scientist, but that particular person does not have the capabilities of reading it, learning it, doing research. So that says a weakness. But again, he says that no, scientists are data scientists are being paid more, and let me become a scientist. But again, there are a lot of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people that will create competition, and that's a risk. So must they take that risk? Probably not. So what the person need to do? Person need to actually first of all go and transform that weakness into strength, and then create with that strength the opportunity so that you can defeat the threat. So again, this is also a longer topic, but I tried to cover whatever I could in this session. Probably if possible, inshallah, we will see the next session, on identity and personality development. Thank you very much. If there are any quick questions, I can answer.
Assalamu alaikum, Imad Syed. This is Javed speaking.
Yes, please.
You spoke about SWOT analysis and the approach that we have to do, but do we really, how much of an effort do we need to better our weakness and transform it into a strength?
See, this is, if let's suppose we have, 5 strengths and 1 weakness, probably, you can negate that weakness with your strengths. But if you have 1 strength and 5 weaknesses, then you need to put in more effort on the weaknesses.
Saab, could you give an example for the audience so that they can know how, what do you mean by that?
Let's suppose that I give an example. Let's suppose that you have strengths that you are a person who get the work done properly, who has the knowledge, who understands the environment, but you are not a early starter. Let's suppose, even though you are not an early starter, but you can get the work done. So that's just one weakness of it. But if let us suppose a person is lazy, a person doesn't have any intention to work, and a person doesn't even get up in the morning, and only thing is that whenever he has time he will work on it. So that's his strength, but there are 3 or 4 weaknesses. Then it's absolutely important that we transform those weaknesses into strength. So the moment we have weaknesses more, you need to spend time on weaknesses. And I have seen people who had a lot of weaknesses, they have transformed those weaknesses into their strengths.
Shukriya sir, a follow-up question. Can you throw some light on the importance of being consistent to our participants?
I see. Consistency is one of the characteristic of a better person, and especially leaders. They are always consistent. If they want to be a leader tomorrow, we need to be consistent. Today we talk about a subject, we have one opinion, tomorrow we cannot immediately change that. And let us suppose that we do an exercise, which is every morning I'm doing a meditation for 5 minutes. I do it today, but I don't do it after for couple of days. Then that's not consistency, and that is definitely not adding value. If you look at it, everything in this world is achieved with the consistency only. Continuity and consistency is important. Let's suppose we have a business today. I go and start the business, but again next 3 days I don't turn up. It's inconsistency, and that will kill anything. So inconsistency is one of the biggest killers of any continuity, any progress. And obviously nobody wants to be inconsistent in their life, but we need to determine that we would like to spend some time doing some stuff consistently, be it learning, be it practicing, be it eating. Like now, a person who says that no, you need to take vitamins. One day he goes and he takes all the vitamins, but throughout the next week he doesn't take it. There's no benefit of that. So consistently we need to do that. There are numerous other examples of it, but just as the time constraint, I have given some of these. Are there any other questions in the chat box?
Imad sir, बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Imad sir, you rightly said that nowadays there are a lot of distractions, like in the society. You even have social media, you have news channels. So sometimes we all used to get distracted, like this device which we are using. So how you get rid of this distraction, and how you keep focused over your objective and manage your priorities over it?
See, it's a process. It's definitely a process that we need to practice on regular basis. But the first thing is that we will have to tell our mind that I'm definitely not going to watch or view or read something that can create a distraction. And that's the first step. Again, there is a slide probably in future if time permits. Managing conflicts and managing distractions is one of the biggest things that corporate worlds are trying to motivate people from. So we will talk about that, but again, mentally, if we can think that today I'm definitely not going to get distracted, be it, let's suppose it's a news, or let's suppose it is a meeting that just talks about distractions, or maybe it's a discussion, or maybe it's a WhatsApp group, whatever it is. We need to tell our mind that I am definitely not going to look into this today, tomorrow. And the moment you do it for 1 or 2 days, your mind knows that I am not going to touch there. So you will have to distance yourself from all of that. But there are a lot of other ways of doing that as well. There are a lot of techniques of addressing these distractions and addressing the conflicts. We will talk, inshallah, if time permits. I will try to include that in my future sessions if possible.
Okay, thank you, Imad sir, for responding it. Thanks for.
Thank you. You see, age is definitely not at all a criteria. You can change the career even after 45 as well. I will give you examples of just two people. McDonald's, the owner of that, it's not the actual owner, but the person who has actually popularized McDonald's, he got his first success at the age of 56. 56. Until then, whatever the work or the ideas he had, all of them were failures. And again, KFC is another popular franchisee. That's also during the 60s. Only he got the success. So age is definitely doesn't matter. You can learn skills, you can change your career, and do what you love. Do really invest time and effort in a journey that you like. And I know some people, because of the family stress or family situation, they have actually embarked on a career and that they don't like, but after 10 years, once all those problems were addressed, they change their career and they are successful. So definitely age doesn't matter. As long as our willpower drives those objectives, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Imad Saab. Jazakumullah khair for such an excellent session. So I think we can conclude for today, and then we'll keep on having this series on leadership and maybe also on data analytics at some point.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to all the audience for joining and making it an interactive session. So we'll keep on having, inshallah, further sessions around the same topic. Okay, thanks a lot to everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
घुमाने में